Hi, my name is Martin. I'm a driver coach specializing in open formula. In this video, I'm going to give you some insights and opportunities from the race today in Singapore. If you're interested in what my thoughts are, definitely keep watching. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I hope you're going well. Not the most entertaining race, although I didn't expect it from Singapore. I was expecting this sort of thing. I was just thinking as the race goes on, like that we've got 3 choices of compound to pick from and you only have to use 2, so soft, medium, hard. I thought, why don't we just get rid of the hard? And I just feel like running softs and mediums would just make one stop so much more challenging. Anyway, I'm not all in on that. It's just a very initial thought that came to me and I thought I'd share it with you guys for comment. Just thought if you look back, if you take away the hard, it kind of makes the one stop really challenging. Even Max struggled on the hard towards the end. Anyway, so like I say, just a thought that came to my mind. I'm not sure, but I think we just need to do something in these tracks just to spice it up. Increasing the pit lane speed limit doesn't seem to be enough for me, at least. All right. Let's talk about the race. So the first thing I just want to talk about, I'll go driver by driver. Just want to talk about Max and his choice to start on the soft compound tire. Now I was thinking a lot pre-race, why? What's he trying to achieve? This is not good. I was thinking a lot of these things. A couple of things ran through my mind. Firstly, that there was a bit of rain around before the race. So I thought maybe he's trying to, maybe it'll be tricky on the dry. And if you want to go for a dry, if it's that borderline, maybe the soft was the play. That one's wrong. It was pretty dry out there. So I don't think that was the reason why. The second thing that crossed my mind was maybe he wants to just try off the line and try to attack George. And I don't think that was the reason either. With the run down to turn 1 the way it was and Max starting on the dirty side, I don't think that was the play either. But then after watching the start and watching all the guys on the left-hand side struggle and or lose positions from that side. So you had P4 lost spots, P6 lost spots, P8 lost spots. I'm talking about the even left-hand side of the grid. So I think Antonelli went backwards, Hamilton went backwards, Hadjar went backwards as well. Then Max was the only one inside the top 10, I think, that actually didn't go backwards from that side. And that's a win. And that's a really good call from Red Bull strategic team. Not to look forward about how can we win this race? How can we fight George and compete into turn 1? It didn't look like it was from that lens. It looked like it was from the lens of, hang on, we're in a really good position here. We're in P2, we're ahead of the Mercedes, but we've got a problem. We're starting on the dirty side of the grid. How do we keep that? And I always refer to Ayrton Senna's quote, which is you've got to know when to give everything you have, which is risk, attack, go for more. You need it. And then when to keep everything you have, you're in a good position and you just need to consolidate and hold on. Brilliant call to start on the soft. It kept Max P2 and it got him P2 in the end. So that was hats off to Red Bull for that call and hats off for Max for keeping it together and getting into turn 1 in P2 as well. I thought Max had no pace during the race at any stage. Even as far as the first couple of corners, I just thought Max looked very slow. I'm not sure, it's obviously not Max, but the Red Bull looked very slow. I'm not sure whether it was what's changed between, the quali setup and the race, but it just seemed like even in the first few corners and the first lap and towards the end of the race, Max started to drop off as well. He didn't have any pace and to finish P2, big win at this track, because Max can go to tracks like Austin and Vegas, and he can go to, Mexico's and Brazil's. He can start to chip away at the McLarens now, knowing that, he's got that Singapore out of the way and still taking a few points off McLaren. Like I say, it was really good. Anyway, he didn't have pace early on. In the final stint, he was struggling with all sorts of issues. He locked up down into turn 14, the front right, nearly touched the wall, went a bit deep there. And then he was talking about rear locking and he was complaining about balance as well. And he comes on the radio at one point. It's like, mate, I'm struggling. Just please help. I thought that was funny and cool as well. And then GP comes on the radio, gives him 2 clear instructions, change this brake balance and change this torque. And it seemed like the conversation, that was solved for a couple of laps at least. Very different to what you see with Ferrari, which is try this, Lewis. Then, there's a lot of back and forth with the changes and they don't know and it's all over the place. So I thought it was you could see how well Max and GP work together and optimize that car. It was a good team result. And like I say, good job by Max today. Likewise, George Russell, faultless, perfect, a really perfect drive from George. Well controlled, I didn't hear much from him on the radio or see much from him on the race. Unfortunately, the coverage just didn't follow him that much. I think we did jump on board once and he was mucking around with brake balance into turn 14. Again, like we spoke about in qualifying with those really odd numbers like 58.2 and 59.2 and 58.4, really strange numbers. And I still don't have an answer for that for you. If you didn't see the quali video, the context was like, why 58.4? Why not 58.5 and just work in half percentages or whole percentages? Thought that was really strange. But I did get an insight for you as well. We jumped on board with Antonelli, like it's a point in the race, going down to 14 and 16 as well, not making any brake balance changes. So similar story with like Max and Yuki. Max full optimizing the Red Bull in Baku quali, Yuki not so much. And then George, like even during the race, bang, 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 changing everything all the time. And Antonelli like just cruising around as well. So it's the difference in the extent of their professionalism. Like I say, other than that, perfect race from George. There's nothing from my side as a driver coach to say other than good job and George's quality and class. All right, let's talk about Lando and Oscar. Obviously, Lando got one spot off the grid. He was on the clean side. He stole the spot off Kimi Antonelli off the line. I thought in the first few corners, like I said, Max was very slow for some reason, and Oscar was directly behind Max. I thought either Oscar didn't quite capitalize and got a bit held up. He started to attack around the outside of turn 1. Max was really slow into turn 1. And then Oscar had to wait for Max to get rotation into 1. Then Oscar could go into 1. All this time, Lando's got a good launch and he just gets up the inside of Oscar. They're side by side or close enough going into turn 3. He goes around Oscar actually at turn 2 a little bit. So it was really Max's cork in the bottle and Oscar kind of stuck a little bit, maybe a bit conservative as well, following on from his mistakes in Baku. Then they gave Lando a bit of an opportunity as well. I think Lando was within his rights to go for a bit of a move. Why not? Like you could see there was opportunity there at turn 1, 2, 3. And I think like when he got behind Max into turn 3, just lost a bit of that front downforce behind the Red Bull and slid into Max and then slid into Oscar as well. So yes, it was like, you know, what are you going to say? Like that it was unprofessional or risky or whatever. There was opportunity and he went for it. You know, I like to see that. I'd rather see that than say there was an opportunity, you should have gone around him and made an attack up the inside and you would have got the place at Oscar and it would have been championship. Like I'd rather see Lando go for it and it's a bit rough and ugly, but it was fair as opposed to don't go for it. What are you going to say? So I'll just bring up a shot that I took of the start when Lando's going up the inside of all of them here. So this is what I'm talking about. He's so close to the Red Bull now that he's losing front downforce at this point. And to turn, you know, right up against the gearbox of Max, the front's not going to offer you too much. You probably lock the brakes even just as he slows into here, into 3. Oscar on the outside, he probably didn't even know at this point. I show this as well to show you that Lando's entitled to space. I think it's front wheel alongside mirror, which he is just before the apex, which is not defined, unfortunately, but you can assume it's where George is. So yeah, like I say, why not? Now with Oscar's reaction, like there was frustration there, obviously. But I just think if he goes back and reflects a little bit on his turn 1, 2, 3, I haven't looked at it in detail properly, but I think there might have been an opportunity to just change his line around a little bit. Ultimately, he left the inside open into turn 3. So that's, you got to maybe position your car in a way that some Lando would have to go around you at turn 3, which makes it, you know, more difficult. Lando got some damage out of that one. So when he hit Max, you know, I think it was the front left part of his front wing was slightly bent. The end plate didn't seem to affect him too much, his pace. And even in the first stint, he started to stretch Oscar a little bit. So it just seemed like at that phase, first stint, Lando had more pace than Oscar anyway. So when Oscar was asking to swap places and what are we going to do about all this, and the stewards didn't give a penalty, it'd be tricky to do with the pace that Oscar had or didn't have anyway. It'd be very different if he's right behind Lando. Lando's got damage on the front wing. Then you're saying, hey man, what's going on here? He's holding me up now. He's broken front wing. He's messed the whole thing up. That would be a very different position from which Oscar could try to influence. But to the extent at which you drop back by 2 or 3 seconds, Lando's got a broken front wing. He's still pulling away and attacking Max. Yeah, I think Oscar was ambitious to ask for that, but like I don't condemn him for doing so. I would do the same. You've got to ask the question. Yeah, just think it was frustrating. It was a bad weekend, like all in all for Oscar there to come away with P4. But, onwards and upwards for Oscar. He's still in the lead. Hopefully he can stay positive. He outqualified Lando this weekend, for example. Just maybe have a look at the racecraft, which I never thought I'd say with Oscar. That's normally one of his biggest strengths. It's just like last couple of weekends, he's just car positioning hasn't been the best. All right, so let's talk about curbs. Really interesting story again. A little bit frustrating for me as a driver coach because I feel like my instinct tells me we know the way to go. We spoke about it on the channel in Friday and Saturday and the final chicane and some of the curbs around the track. I said the McLaren can ride curbs really well. What's going on? So the context is as follows. Lap 14, Lando Norris hits the wall on the exit of turn 17. We've been following this corner all weekend. He misses the curb, and I've been trying to work out, is it the driver's intention, and I'm going driver by driver, is it their intention to take that curb at 17 or not? And I've been saying, take it. It's more consistent, and I think it's more reliable, and you'll get better tire life out of it as well. So let's have a look. This one here. So Lando, lap 14, misses that one, and then finds himself brushed up against the wall. Exactly what I said yesterday could be the problem if you don't take your curbs, because your curbs are a shortcut. They allow you to get the steering wheel straighter and just avoid all of that. So I'd say it's only a fraction quicker, but heaps more consistent, heaps more control, heaps better for tire life, heaps better for your stability and platform and so on. So then really interesting, Lando pivots and starts taking curbs there routinely the whole race thereafter at turn 17. And then he finds a lot of comfort in the turn 11 entry curb into the chicane as well. So check this out, guys. The Lando behind Max, there it is. Beautiful use. And you're never going to have a problem with the wall on the exit if you do that. And he was loving this one, the turn 11. Bang. And look how compliant that is. And then, this raises so many questions for me. And I just want to show you guys, I was talking yesterday about when you're on the curbs, don't touch the pedals. Yeah, because the idea is you carry speed in and then get off the pedals. Exactly what Lando does here. Watch the pedal throttle off, brake on, brake off, bang, connect in, unloaded inside front. The throttle, happy days, right? So yeah, this is both frustrating and interesting for me. Frustrating in the sense that Lando's only working this stuff out in the race. What are you doing all practice and quali? Okay, fine, but he worked it out. And then it's like we've been seeing this as a trend as well during the season. We spoke about this in Imola. Alex Albon started taking curbs in the first Tamburello chicane, started attacking Charles Leclerc in front of him. And I'm like, where's this been all weekend? We've been begging for drivers to take chicanes in Tamburello chicane all weekend. And now you're doing it? Lap 56 in Imola? Like, come on, like you got to be a little bit more on the front foot. Then we also saw it in Canada. I'll show you guys the between Max and George. And if I'm honest with you guys at this point, Max doesn't strike me as a big curb rider or user. In chicanes, I don't think he's necessarily the best on the grid. And I'll show you why. So this is a shot at the Canadian GP qualifyings, their fastest laps. This is the turns, this is Canada turn 7. George, beautiful, entry curb, yep. Aiming for this triangle here, unloaded inside front. It's going to give you a nice straighter exit here. Max missed his mark here. And I was not sure, like, it's always been hard for me to gauge what's Max's intention. Does he want to just drive around and keep the downforce alive? Which I think, yes. Or does he want to take the curb and just accidentally missed it? So then you see in the race though, so that's one story, is that like he's not using the curb, but then you see in the race, for example, yeah, this is lap 6 following George Russell. Maybe he was watching George following him, not sure, starts to use the curb and it's fine, no problem. And that was the shot from qualifying. So a couple of stories there is like, I just feel like in practice, it looks like the drivers are only getting their minds free with capacity to explore the track and have that curiosity and feel the track out. It feels like that's only happening in the race. And it feels like practice is just to get the engineering done, get your tire data done, get your fuel rates done, get your long runs done, work on your car setup and balance. And it seems like they're just full of all this, that they don't have curiosity to just explore and drive. By the time all that work's done and qualifying's done and they review who got pole and what they did and whatever, and then in the race, I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud at this point. In the race, you know, they're exploring and particularly the turn 11 curb here in Singapore. Lando was hammering that with success every single lap. And then he got more comfortable riding the turn 17 curb as well, hammering that one every single lap as well. And if any car can ride it, I think the McLaren can as well. Because if you've been coming to the Mind and Machine F1 podcast with Ian Wright, ex-vehicle performance for Brawn and Mercedes, he's always said the car with the most downforce is the one that can ride chicanes the best. And I've always thought it's not that downforce related. It's more like suspension, compliance, being nice and soft and like spongy. And, you know, I'm thinking from the driver's point of view, Ian's like, no, if you've got downforce, you can ride chicanes really well. So, you know, I defer to the experts in the field, and that would stack up, which means the McLaren can ride the chicanes really well. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting. And what do you guys think about that whole story about them not using it in practice? You know, remember Lando in Canada phoning Will, his race engineer, saying, can you check if Oscar's using curb in turn 7? And I'll try to play it actually if I can for you guys now. Here we go.
Cool. Jav, can you see if on laps to grid Oscar's using curb in turn 6 to then prepare turn 7?
Yeah, check now.
So it just seems like a little bit late for me to be asking such questions. And yeah, let me know what you guys think about the whole, just the way the drivers are approaching the curbs and chicanes. I understand this year. I understand the cars are very stiff. They're very heavy. The tires are very stiff. There's no travel in the suspension. The cars are, you know, heavy and stiff. Like I say, I get it, and it's not straightforward to. It wouldn't be just natural to just go after the curbs from that standpoint. I get that. But my philosophy has always been start slow, be curious, explore the curbs in practice, and there will be, you know, you'll find places where there'll be lap time for you. And had Lando done that, anything could have been possible. That McLaren could have been on pole. Why not? I wanted to call out Fernando Alonso at this point. I said yesterday that if I'm putting 4 drivers together to be the top 4 at the moment, it's in this order: Max, George, Alonso and Charles probably equal 3 and 4. Everyone hammered me in the comments. Well, Fernando Alonso got points despite his 9-second pit stop today. He's quality. Fernando's quality. You're going to have to take my word on that one. He hasn't lost any pace, and he's a Max in the sense of he's adaptable and he tries different formula. I think he's won a bunch of other categories in the past as well. Alonso's good. Don't worry about that. And so I put them before I start to think about Oscar and Lando as well. And I think this race really, really showed that. Actually, if you saw the driver of the day, it was like George, Max, Fernando. That kind of makes sense. So yeah, I just thought I'd call out. That was a good job by Fernando Alonso today around one of his favorite tracks. Have to mention as well at this point, just second last topic as we round third base, McLaren Constructors Champions. Personally, if you ask me my personal view, I don't really care about the Constructors Championship. And in the second instance, the McLaren racing team, like as we've just spoken about with Lando exploring the chicanes, and they got the best car and they qualify P3, P4 or whatever. The McLaren racing team, everything, the whole team orders thing, all of their strategy calls, the way they manage the drive, I don't know. I'm not a massive fan of the McLaren team as at October 2025. I feel like, I've always said it before, I feel like Red Bull are a racing team. They're aggressive. They make the aggressive calls and they're racers and they've got instinct and they go after it. As you saw with the soft compound choice, that was a good call. And McLaren are an engineering team operating a race car. And you can see that in the clumsiness of their race operations sometimes. So if I have to say anything positive about McLaren's Constructors Championship, it's to the guys that you don't see back at the factory, the vehicle dynamics team, the vehicle performance team, the aerodynamics performance and design team as well. All of the guys in the car design, you might know names like Peter Perdomo or Rob Marshall involved in those areas, and other guys that back at the factory at the MTC that you won't even know of and have never heard of. Those are the guys who are, like, for me, the gold medal, like world champions. And I hope if they interview McLaren, as they did last year, I think they interviewed Will, who's Lando's engineer. I can't remember the name of Oscar's one. Is it Mike? Can't remember. Sorry. And then Randy as well. And they were just sitting there lapping up all the credit for the Constructors Championship. And behind them, because they're at the MTC, behind them are the guys on the computers actually doing the work, designing the car. And I'm like, couldn't one of them just say, hey, we got to thank the guys behind us who actually built us a weapon of a car. I thought that was disingenuous from those three, if I'm honest with you and if I'm sharing my values with you. Credit where credit is due. The guys have built a really nice car. It's good in all conditions. It's very versatile. It's very drivable. You see the way it rides curbs. You see the way it looks after its tires. You see it in hot conditions, cold conditions. It's a really, really good car. And yeah, I don't think enough credit has gone back to the guys at the MTC, guys that me and you won't even know of. So I think that's a point worth calling out. And if you want to get behind me and congratulate those guys, yeah, drop some names in the comments, like shed some light on who are the people that are actually building this car and the world champions. Because I feel like those guys have done a 10 out of 10 job. The racing operations team, I can't say have done the same 10 out of 10 job. Thank you guys for joining me this weekend. I hope you enjoyed my insights. I hope they gave you a different perspective from which to watch the race and you were able to look out and spot these things together with me as well. Join me in a couple of weeks for the Austin live stream. Very technical track with significant track width. We're talking about S's. I'm very passionate about S's because there's not many on the calendar. You've only got Silverstone S's, Suzuka S's, and Austin S's. That's it. No more S's. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. Max is a machine through S's. If I talk about his deficiencies in long corners or chicanes, watch Max in S's, his quality, highly quality. So this is where Max, it's good that it's good from his standpoint that he's taken points off McLaren here, because I think he's going to proceed forward and take some more points off them in Austin as well. And you got hairpins, decreasing radius corners, yeah, and a big track width. So some tight lines are an opportunity as well. So join me on the Thursday. Keep an eye out for the live section on the channel, and I'll see you guys there.